Hey there, everybody. It's your girl, Nick. I am so excited to be here with another episode of the Bo Knows Business. The Bo Collective is an amazing group of women, 50 businesses, 52 Black women owners who have scaled their businesses, and we're going to hear their stories from them. Number one, we're going to hear how they became an entrepreneur. I think everyone would love to know that. Number two, we're going to hear about their business. Number three, they're going to share some strategies with you. All right. So today we have the amazing Kathryn Allen of Answer Title. She is going to just dazzle you all. Got great acumen, great spirit, and I can't wait for you all to meet her and fall in love the way I have over these last few months. All right. Miss Kathryn, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I will try to sparkle.
Hey girl, I don't have to hype you up. You are dynamic in your own right. I'm so grateful for so many of your talents, so many of your gifts, but just your warm heart and your acumen for all that you do for me personally in our organization. So I'm so happy
Thanks, Nick.
that you're
Absolutely my
here.
pleasure.
All right,
Absolutely.
so we're going to get started. Like I told our audience, the past few weeks have been such a treat. Like I look forward so much to these days because as much as I think I know my friends' stories, I learn something new every day. And so I want you to share with us your story. All right. We're going to go back to when Kathryn was coming up, what did you look like as a little girl? What did you like? What were your passions? Tell us about your family, where you were raised. Give us just a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks so much. I often say I absolutely hit the lottery when I was born. I had the most amazing parents and family. I'm one of 8 kids,
Wow.
four older brothers, an older sister, and then two younger sisters. My mom, both my parents are gone now, but I can't even. It tears me up to even start talking about them because they were just so amazing and they're constantly with me. My mom was a lawyer, among many other things. She was an opera singer and she taught at the university level and she raised them by themselves. And there's stories. One of my older brothers tells a story of sitting outside my parents' bedroom the night I was born. And so those stories live in our family, which is just amazing. My dad, so let me just say one quick thing about my mom, which we're all so proud of. She was the very first Black female to graduate from the University of North Carolina Law School. And they're doing a major celebration of her and her life. They've commissioned a portrait, and all that's going to happen in the next couple of months. My father actually integrated several of the hospitals in the town, Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I grew up. And just again, he delivered over 10,000 children in his amazing career. And serial entrepreneurs, like even in addition to their medical practice and their legal practice, they were totally involved in our community. My father started businesses like other people start other stuff. And he was just a serious workaholic. So I get a lot of that from him. And I get really from my mom, just quickness. My mom was the one that, you give her an idea and she was off and she made it happen. And I really take that part from her.
Oh my great. So I've learned from doing podcasts to be quiet. It's not my natural gift, but I don't want anyone to miss any of the pearls that are coming out of your mouth. I will tell you, you have a lot in common with several of our other Bo sisters, one of which, Teresa Harrison, she also comes from a family of 8. I don't know if you knew
I
that.
didn't know
Out of
that.
Baltimore, she talks so much about just her parents, but that family, that large communal family. Tell me a little bit about your give me one of the values, of coming from a large family that you saw incorporated. Was it something around the dinner table? Did you guys, was it, she said she learned how to be an advocate because she's one of eight. So she really had to make sure she heard her voice. What did you learn about being a member of your family?
You know, I really think a lot of it was work ethic. And I think just always putting your best foot forward. You only have that one shot to make a first impression. When we would have assignments, like a speaking, like we had to give a talk in our classrooms, or we would have to read a paper, you didn't get to do that without having sat. My mom and dad would sit in their study, and we would go and we'd have to present it to them, get fully critiqued, and then we could go to school and present it. And that kind of just always making sure that you're ready for prime time,
Yes.
and taking a minute to step back, reread it, look at it again, think about it again before you say it. All of those kinds of things I really got from my parents. And I'm telling you, the work ethic, I mean, they just, neither of them never stopped. And I get accused of that a lot. Like, really? You said yes again? I'm sure Donna will say that. But anyway, yeah. So I'm very high energy, high level. I commit to things, and I believe in that commitment. And I totally got that from both my parents.
Well, I love that for so many reasons. Number one, for my 14-year-old, as we are going through it, and I'm like, do it right the first time. And I tell him, respect your own time. Like, forget about me, because I'm going to make you do it again. Whether it's the kitchen or whether it's a homework assignment, respect your time. Do it right the first time, and you get the free time on the back time. But I love that you got that from your parents. So let's fast forward a little bit. That next chapter, right? Going off to college. What was your major? What were your interests like right before you entered into the professional world?
So I'm chuckling a little bit because part of my going to Smith and to Massachusetts from North Carolina was because of those seven brothers and sisters. I was number six. I grew up and I was either Dr. Allen's daughter, Attorney Allen's daughter, one of my brother's little sister, my sister's little sister. And I really wanted to sort of define my own space. So I wanted to get away. I actually wanted to go to Michigan State because I'm a huge football fan. And one of my brothers said, "Oh yeah, no, because that's too far away. It is too cold. We can't get to you if you need us. You have to stay on the East Coast." So that literally was, how I figured out that I was going to school on the East Coast. I ended up being, I had a lot of influence from my dad, and I originally actually started thinking I was going to go to med school. And I was a biochemistry major. And then as I was in college, I had these amazing professors of color. And I took so many of those courses that I ended up doing a double major. So I was biochemistry and African American literature. And so that was like, I don't think anybody had ever done that double major before, but it was fast. Both of those were fascinating to me. And I really absolutely enjoyed my time at Smith, really loved New England, spent a lot of time there. My first went to law school there, and in Boston College Law School, and lived there for a number of years, lived in New England probably 14 or 15 years. So it was a great experience.
And I love your majors. I shout out for double majors. Now you were dope. You combined the sciences and the arts. I was mass communications and sociology. So I was like, I had to go to law school, girl. I couldn't find a job.
I love it. Well, let me tell you that the reason I was chuckling is because I actually, in my summers while I was in college, I went to University of North Carolina, where I had two brothers probably, doing masters, and one was in med school. And I actually took medical classes. I dissected bodies. I did all, obviously cadavers, all of that. And then I just thought, okay, this is a lot. I want to do so much other stuff. And really, if you're going to follow that path, that's all you can really do. And so I decided to go to law school, graduated, walking down the aisle, handing my dad my diploma. And he was so cute. He was like, "Oh my God, babe, this is fabulous. I'm so excited for you." He's like, "Okay, so we're going to think about med school though for next year, right?" I literally, those were the
Are you
words out of his. No, not at all. I mean, he was like, if you cut him
okay.
open,
He's
he
like,
would.
I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting.
He
I'm
was
not
not
quitting.
giving up on me at all. Exactly.
Let me ask you this, because I feel like some people can knuckle under that, I'm pivoting a little bit. I promise I'll come back on.
Sure.
But in terms of, being an entrepreneur, there's so many pressures and responsibilities, mental health, and making that balance between, and I heard you say, I really wanted to make a name for myself. Do you think that there was ever a time where, you were like, this is too much pressure, this is a lot of weight? What were the tools that you used to say, I'm pushing past this? Or if that wasn't the case, if you were like, I was always, go getter, well, how did you tell your dad no? How did you start to, out of, just find your own path versus saying, hey, let me make them proud, let me, I got to follow in their footsteps? How did you make your own way and find your own voice?
The thing that I treasure the most from my parents and also my siblings, who are amazing, is that they all believed in me. I mean, that was it. They truly believe, and to this day still believe, anything that I want to achieve, I can do. And so I never actually buckled under it, because I always knew no matter what choices I made, they would support me. They didn't always agree with them. In fact, a few of them they didn't agree with, but they would give me their stuff. My mother would say, like, "I don't even know why I'm talking to you about this, because I know you're going to make up your own darn mind." She was like, but she would give me her, gosh knows I was going to hear how she felt about it. But then they honestly let me make those decisions. And so I never felt like I was buckling under any of it. And making them proud was sort of, it was who I was. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, this is gonna make them proud, but it wasn't the major motivator. It if it was something, we laugh about, would daddy ever would say, his daddy would say, "Is that okay for you to do?" So it stops me from doing some stuff that I maybe would have done. And certainly growing up in Fayetteville, where everybody knew my parents, I was telling the story about driving down the main drag in the Black community, going to home. And by the time I got to my driveway, my mom was standing on the front porch. And I was like, "What's this about?" And I was like 16, 17 years old, had just gotten my license. And I went up the stairs, and my mother said, "So and so called and said you were speeding down Murchison Road." I mean, but that was growing up in a small town.
Mhm.
So there was that kind of pressure
Yeah.
to not besmirch our family name.
Yeah.
But it was
Pride. It was pride. It was a positive. It wasn't a negative. No, I
absolutely,
see that.
absolutely.
Again, I'm doing a chronology. There are these beautiful pearls, the strands of pearls in the Bow Collective, a lot of great synergy, but that support is one that I'm so proud to see. So, all right. So I feel like our audience knows you, loves you, and trusts you now, girl. Let's come with it on the business advice. Tell me how you got started in business, but and how you met. We know that you guys have a very special business, Answer Title. You share with another amazing woman that we will meet next week. But I want to know, how did you all meet and start your firm?
So Donna and I both are first. So I was the first Black female banking commissioner in the country. And when I did that in Washington, D.C., it was part of my job to go literally meet every CEO of a bank in DC.
Wow.
So it turns out one of those was Donna Fitzgerald Schuler. She was one of the first, and she'll tell you, but she was one of the first, if not the first, Black female CEO of a bank in DC. And we sat down and literally talked to each other, told our story similarly to what we're doing now. Turns out we were both daddy's girls, and both of our fathers had died recently. And we literally sat there and tears were coming down our eyes, and just quick friends. Then about maybe a year later, we both got accepted to Leadership Washington, which is now Leadership Greater Washington. And we're in the same class. And that's really where our relationship cemented and where we got to be friends. So fast forward, we're both in our jobs. I was banking commissioner. She was at Independence Federal. And both of us left. We both decided we were done with those careers. And we literally met for breakfast, dropped our kids off at school, met for breakfast, and said, so what we doing now with ourselves, like what's happening? And talked it over, talked about our strengths. I was, in addition to being a real estate attorney, banking attorney, she was a realtor as well as a banker. And as we talked about both of our strengths, we realized that we pretty much covered the waterfront for a title company. And there were no sort of upscale downtown DC, certainly Black-owned, female-owned title companies. And it clicked. And we just said, well, that makes sense. So this now tells you the difference in our personalities. So this was
like, who's the Thelma and who's the Louise?
Yeah, hello. So this was around March. And then we talked about it. We met in each other's living rooms, thought about what we we're going to do. And we just talked and talked and talked. Donna went on vacation in June. When she got back July 7th, I had incorporated and we were ready to go. I was like, okay, enough talk. Yes. Let's make this happen. So by the time she got back, we were Answer Title and Escrow LLC was in existence, and we started that business July 7th of 2004. It was like, it's on. And that's how and that is literally our personality. I'm like, jump, feet first, head first. We got the idea. Let's go do it. Donna's like, slow your roll, girlfriend. Slow your roll. Let's think about it. What are we going? What does this mean?
The devil's in the details.
Exactly. And we're really good for each other that way, because sometimes I do need to slow my roll, and sometimes she does need to, like, come on, make the leap. We're going to do it. And one of the things that I so appreciate about our relationship is that, and we laugh about it always, that it really is like a marriage. I mean, you have to, it's give and take, and you argue and you fuss, but you love each other. And the biggest thing is the respect. I mean, we have tremendous respect for each other and trust. I mean, we deal in $20 million, escrows that we've had in our bank account at any one time, or more or less, or whatever. And we have never, ever, it just has never been an issue. We trust each other implicitly. And that's, that's how it's works.
I love this interview. I love this time. I have a question for you, because I already know how you all scaled, that you shore each other's weaknesses. So you SWAT a situation, and then you put a woman on the field, right, in the respective places. But tell me, what is unique about Bo, what is impressive, is making that $1 million threshold. We know that is something we want to replicate through our stories. Tell us about, one or two of the tips that you would give a listener, whether they are in your field or not, that really helped your business from going from that incorporation on July 7th to really solidifying all these years later. What were the 2 or 3 major things that helped you scale?
We knew early on that, and I have this is no shade on mom and pops. We just knew that wasn't our path. And so we put ourselves in a space. We network. I mean, we lived, it feels like those first 2 to 3 years, there was not an event that the two of us did not go to, network, whatever. That I can't even express how important getting your name, establishing your brand,
Yes.
making sure, because people knew us so much from our other positions, other roles. And so that was also part of it. But that whole network piece. The other thing about real estate and title is that it ebbs and flows, right? And unfortunately, that whole 2008 crash, all of that we knew could be a possibility. So one of the things we did early on was establish our relationship to be able to go after and win contracts from the federal government, from DC government, because that's steady.
Yes.
So developing relationships, we love people that just call us, or that we reach out to, or that we know or get referred to, that just want to buy a house. Those are great, but you also have to have that steady, like, where do we know the income's coming? And so we develop relationships with developers who are building 300 and 400 unit buildings, and then we were the title company for those 300 or 400s. That helped us for years. We went after very large contracts. We have one now that's 500 million. We don't make that much. We're the title company, be clear, but we make significant income. But that was a ramp up where you do good work. You make have those lawyers who are like, wow, they know what they're doing.
Yes.
And then they think about us for the next deal, and you grow. You grow like that. Some of it's organic. Some of it is you've got to be intentional. Right? You've got to be intentional. And so those, we would go to the HUD forums. We would go to the Department of Energy or Interior, just to again get our face out there, let folks know who we are, and be able to bid on those contracts as they come down. Because federal government buys a lot of property, manages a lot of property. Same with DC government. We do Virginia, we do Maryland. You can't limit, or we didn't want to limit our playing field. So that's really how.
Well, girlfriend, it happened again. The magic happened again. Like, I learned something about someone that I already love and respect, and it's gone even deeper. I really think that you have shared such amazing things about yourself. Thank you for being so transparent. And I felt your heart. I would have loved to have met your parents. And I know that they are not only so proud, but their spirit is living on through you, through the relationships that you are making, and for these other entrepreneurs and parents. You gave some great parenting advice. So I'm just so grateful to know you. All right. Thank you so much.
This has been
joining me today.
It's been such a pleasure, and I am so proud to be a founding member along with you, and because of you, in the Bow Collective. It's such an amazing space to be in at this point in my life. I can't tell you how much it means to me.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so very much. Have a good one.